Let's pick up right where we left off yesterday. We didn't have any homework, so we still had some time. Oh, we should finish our do now. We'll finish that in a second or two. Maybe at the end this time. But let's talk about where did we leave off? What two ideas were we talking about? Domain and range. Let's talk about the domain. The domain refers to which one? The domain refers to X. What's the range referred to? Good. Nice. So let's go to another example. Let's pick not that one. Here's just another one from the movies. Let's do something that you would more see on a test, okay? Because we're going to go towards functions, we're going to go towards graphs. You're going to be given a set of coordinates, and they're going to say, so like, what's the domain? And let's just do this real quickly. You might decide to write it out like this. The domain equals, we're going to use our solution set brackets. That's what those are for. That's the equivalent to putting a box around your answer. And so give me some of the numbers that are in the domain. Good. You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing, which is why this isn't going to take very long, and then we're going to get to the good stuff. How about the range? How about the range? What numbers are in there? Yeah, exactly. Great. You're amazing. Wow. I am so impressed. Imagine if we did this for an entire day. Oh. Yes. You're going to see, so let's go back to, we're still in domain and range. We're just talking about different ways things can look. I don't know why they show stuff like this. This is in math, it's called a mapping, right? It's called a mapping, right? In other words, like, I don't know, once again, also I find it really confusing, but you should know how to read it. 5 is being mapped to the rational numbers. Also, when you see items like this, these are the x values and these are the y values. In other words, this is the domain, right? The set of inputs. This is the range, or the set of outputs. I was writing that in my head, so this is the range. Right? So let's do the first things first. First, we're going to express these as we're going to express the relationship as a set of ordered pairs. Okay, how do you do that? It's just going to be 5, comma, rational numbers. That's an ordered pair. The reason they call it an ordered pair is because a very specific thing goes in that front row, a very specific thing goes in that second row. And there's 2 of them. Okay, let's do another one. Rad 7, comma, irrational numbers. A half, comma, rational numbers. And then this funny looking symbol, what is that? Oh, good. And that's going to be the irrational numbers. I don't think we need to list out the domain and range again, do we? Maybe we should. I don't know. Yeah, let's just say it to save time so we can get on to other stuff. What's the domain? Yeah, everything over here, you'd write it out just the same way. What's the range? Yeah, very nice. Okay, all right. Okay, the domain and the range for these guys. Can you guys see all the coordinates or not really? I mean, it's on your paper. It's on your paper, but let me highlight them on mine. There's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, and there's one. Okay? So the domain and the range. Okay? So let's write the domain and the range. The domain equals, what's the domain of these coordinates? How do you do something like that? That's good. Oh, you guys got it. -4, -2. You could put it twice. It really doesn't. You don't have to. Negative. I don't know about, oh, 0, I missed one. Whoops. Whoops, my bad. My B. 0, right? 1, 2, and 4, right? Did I miss any of them? Okay. How about the range? Let me do a different color. Hold on a second. The range. Which of the ranges referring? What's the range referring to? The y values. So all we're doing is we're looking up and down. Wait, do you want to start at the bottom or do you want to start at the top? Top down. Okay. Let's start at the top and let's move our hand down. So 4, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. This is easy? Oh, this is. So we're talking about domain and ranges again. Let's talk about the domain of this one. Let's talk about the domain. The domain are which values? They're the x values. Okay? Now, here's the problem. Do you see those holes? Okay? Which brackets do you use for holes? Hard brackets or soft brackets? Oh, okay. Soft brackets. Yeah. So I'm going to put a soft bracket around -4. It's going to stretch all the way to 2. And another soft bracket. Because between these two markers right here, there's 2 open holes, and that's what I want to signify when I use soft brackets. I'm going to give you 2 ways that you could do it. -1, 2. Oh, it's filled in. It's just like it's a point.
Wait, you said there the reason why you go from those is because of the point and
No, it's just because what I'm most concerned with when I look at a graph like this is these open circles right there, right? Because it's like everything goes there, and then suddenly it's like there's like a hole, and that's really what it's called. Like, what do I do? Okay? And when you get up to calculus and pre-calc, this is going to be called non-continuous because you can't like travel along it. Okay, all right. So now we're going to get the rest of this stuff over here, this point. Okay? We got to go from 2 down to 5. So we're going to put a little union. Yeah? We're going to put another bracket from 2 to 5. Hard bracket because it's closed. Okay? Some people like doing it that way. Really. The 2 is open. So it's like the reason that you have to use this union over here is because there's an open hole at -4. That's the soft bracket. And then as we travel along our like path, right? We're traveling along. Whoa, that's messed up. We're traveling along, and then you get to that spot right there, and you're like, how do I deal with this? I can't include it. I can't just go from -4 to 5 because that would mean that 2 is included. So what I'm saying is that -4 to 2, soft bracket, so there's an open hole. Union, that means we're going to include another part also as well. From 2, soft bracket, to 5. What do you mean? No, you do. It's a point. It's a negative. You know, like when we talk about like this kind of notation right here, this really does signify the following. That's what that is, and then this next part is taking this part and going all the way down over there. That's what it means. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, who hates that? That's terrible. Yeah, when you put a soft bracket, you don't count it. It's a hole. Soft bracket, it's a hole. And here's what you're going to have to distinguish between. You ready? There is a difference. There is a very big difference between using the soft brackets like this for set notation and using the soft brackets to indicate just a coordinate. Like this in math can mean two things. This is a huge problem. It's like in English. You know the word dove? What can dove also mean? Like if you just looked at it. Dove, right? So here, this can either mean the coordinate -4, 2, if we talk about coordinates in ordered pairs. Or it can mean in set notation all the values from -4 to 2, like everything in between. So you have to be careful of how you use the language. How do you tell? It depends on how you're expressing your answer. Right here, they're asking for you to say all the values between that are in the domain. Let me give you another way to show it. This is the hard way. Anybody in honors class would be doing it this way, and that's how they'd be writing it out. Oh, okay. You could write it this way, but it appears that this has confused some people. So let's give another way that we could possibly write this out, right? The domain is which set of values, x's or y's? Okay, so we're going to have to use x's. So we're going to put an x in the middle. We're going to say, all the x values from -4 down to 5, but also, right, we have one extra restriction. X cannot equal 2. How's that? That's more confusing? Okay, so take a look what I've written down using using inequality symbols. The domain refers to all the x values. I'm saying that in the domain, it's all the x values greater than -4. So it's like everything right up to -4, but not -4, all the way down to 5. But the problem when you say it that way is that you've also included 2. And so you have to say, oh, but wait a minute, I forgot, my bad. 2's also out. What? Yeah. Yeah. So which way do you like it? Do you like using the top, this method, or do you like using the bottom? Top? Okay. I just want to say, Olda, what's up, girl? How do you know which brackets to use? Oh, Olda, you are amazing question. If you have a closed circle, you're going to be using the hard brackets. If you wanted to use like inequality symbols, you'd be using these or you'd be using these. Okay? If you have an open circle, you're always using a soft bracket, and you'd be using these or these symbols if you want to use inequality. Okay? Now let's try and do the range. Let's try and do the range. Let's try and do the range. Range. Okay? The range of the y values. Now we're going to start at the bottom because that's always how it goes. The range. We're going to start at the bottom. So what's the lowest the range goes? -2. Okay? It's closed, so that's -2. It rises all the way up to, well, the problem is that you have an open hole at 4. That's terrible, yeah? Sure. Or, that's a complicated way to do it. Or, you could say something like this. It's going to go all the way down from -2 all the way up to 5. But, oops, sorry, not x. But in between, y can't equal 4. All right? Let's do it. Let's scale back for a minute. Let's scale back for a minute. Do an easier problem. The domain. The domain. All right? It's easier. It's still a little weird. The domain. We're moving left and right for the domain. Is there any restrictions to the domain? I want you to notice that there's arrows on the top of these. So it would just keep going. I know it looks like it'll keep going up, but it's slanted, so it'll keep going up and outwards. So is there any restriction? Does it stop anywhere? No. So it goes from negative infinity to infinity. And you put soft brackets around them because infinity can never be caught. You can never get to it. You can come real close to it, but you'll never actually be there. It's a weird thought. Yeah. Go on. So let's explain. Let's explain. So the domain. The domain, since this thing never ends, is from negative infinity to infinity. Another way of writing that is to put this funny looking symbol, which means all reals. Or if you don't like that and you can't draw it, you could just write that. Yeah. All real numbers. Okay, now let's talk about the range. Let's talk about the range. Let's talk about the range. So we're sweeping our hand up and down. That's what we're trying to find. Is there a bottom? Is there a lowest point that it goes to? Yeah, it goes down to here. That's its lowest point. And there's a closed circle on it, so we're going to put it in parentheses like that. Now it goes upwards. Is there any limit to where it goes upwards? No, so we're just going to put the infinity symbol, and we'll put it like that. Another way that you could write that is, you could say that y is greater than, let's put it so it matches with our thing, negative 4, that y is greater than or equal to negative 4. And if you're extremely uncomfortable with writing these things out, you literally can write a full sentence for what it is. Like you could say to yourself, all the y's greater than or equal to negative 4. If you don't like writing it this way, you don't like putting these symbols, write a full sentence, you get full credit. Let's do 13. Let's do 13. What do you think? The government does not put a chip in your brain when you're born. Time to. Yeah, let's do the domain. Let's do the domain. So, the domain really is this area right here. So we're going to say from negative 2 to 4. If you want to do it that way, or if you don't like writing things out, you could say that x is between negative 2 and 4. And if you don't like writing it out that way, you could write out a full sentence, but I don't feel like doing that. No. If it's open circle, soft brackets. No line underneath. Let's do the range. Yeah, let's do the range. Let me erase that out. Let's do the range. Let me just mark it up, right? We are looking really from here all the way up to here. So, yeah. So we got this. Is this easy? Oh, good. So let's practice again. Look at it. I'll come back to you in a minute. So this is just how I do it. Some other teachers might say things a little differently, right? This is how I do it. The first thing I might do is I'm going to make the long stretch. Okay? I might say, oh, I don't know, from negative 5, hard bracket, down to 4. So negative 5 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 4. And there's something in between I have to kick out, and that's negative 4. So I'm going to say x also cannot equal negative 4. So I did the long stretch. And then I just kicked out the ones that didn't work. You want me to do it the other way? Sure. Wherever you see a hole, that means there's like a spot where x is vacant.
That's only in the middle of the points, right?
Yeah. So take a look. Remember remember the domain refers to the x values. So here it's solid, and then you travel along. Whoops, travel along, and then there's an open hole, and then you travel all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, and then it's open. And so that's really what I've described, right? This first, and then kicking out that. What's up? What do you mean count it? I, I did. See? It's like it got kicked out, and then I'm like, oh, my bad. Actually, within this interval, also x can't be equal to -4. All right. Sure, sure. Let me do it the other way. The other way that we're going to do it is like that I told you is with the interval notation. There's an open hole, right? We're going to go all the way down to over here. So what I'm going to say is hard bracket around -5 down to -4, soft, union, from -4 all the way down to 4. What's up? What do you mean? Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah, this is included. It's if you see a closed hole, it means it's the same thing as putting a line. What's up? Yeah. +4 with a -5. Hold on one second. All right. Let's go all the way from the bottom. Let's find the range. What's the range? Oh, thank you. What's the range? I say it's from -3 all the way up to 4. We're done because everything in between is all good. Yeah? How else could you say it? Less than y. Yeah, less than 4. There you go.